Hello there, boys and girls, and all of those in between. My name is Maliena Bitchcock, and I want to welcome you to Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, my very own talk show where I interview local celebrities all around the Oregon area. This week, we have a very special guest. She's beautiful, she's talented, it's the one and only FlawlessShade.
Hi.
Hey,
how are
girl,
you?
how you doing? Are you surviving quarantine?
Ooh, girl, I'm doing well, all things considered. How about yourself?
You know, I'm feeling a little green underneath the gills.
That green looks good on you, though. I love how we match, kind of.
Thank you. I call this my neon demon look.
Yes, I'm giving you Papa Smurf meets the little people from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Ooh, an Oompa Loompa. I love it.
Oompa Loompa, yes.
And those tones of your skin, when you get up close, we can see those pinks and the purples and the lavenders. Oh my God, I love it.
The face doesn't match the hands. I didn't have time for that.
Girl, I don't wear nails. I'm too poor for that.
Says the girl with the most sickening outfits ever.
Thank you. You know, she's come a long way in 15 years.
Good for you, girl.
So, Miss Thing, I'm ready to get into the interview. Are you ready to dive in deep?
I'm ready.
Good. Okay. So I think where we really need to start is the beginning. And that is, when did you first start drag and how long have you been performing?
So I started drag about 5 years ago. You know, most of us drag queens start around Halloween. And then I started performing about 4 months after that. So around like Halloween was the first time I ever got into drag and went out, you know? And then the first time I performed, I was booked at Embers Avenue about 4 months after I started. And the first person to ever book me was Honeybee Hart.
Oh, I love her. She's actually one of the first queens I ever saw when I went up to Portland.
She's one of those queens, and what I will always appreciate and never forget are those seasoned queens, the queens that came before us that, you know, kind of that gave me my star. There's so much I've done by myself, but there's so much that so many people have helped me out with. So Honeybee is definitely one of those.
I think that's truly beautiful. Now, you know, Flawless, tell me a little bit, what made you actually want to start drag?
Well, I started because I was in a really bad place in my life and hanging out with bad people, the wrong crowd, and I used to do meth, and we all had decided to get ready and do like kind of a girl group thing for Halloween, and I fell in love with drag from that moment. I stepped into it and the feeling of it, and I decided I was going to get sober when I was sober from that substance when I was at some random person's house putting on makeup. It was New Year's Eve, and I just said to myself, it was one of those cliche moments when I was doing makeup in some weird random dude's house, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Is this gonna, like, what am I gonna do if, you know, how am I gonna support myself? And 4 days later, I decided to go to my first meeting, and that was the first time I ever called myself an addict. And I was just honest from there, and I went to meetings for about 30 days, and then then stopped because drag was more of my therapy. I just needed to find a different outlet.
Wow, I mean, and that's really deep, and I mean, that's really powerful. I mean, it almost feels like Flawless changed your life.
It changed my life. I changed my life. It gave me something to really focus on, and I always kind of grew up like having my older family members being, what are you good at? What are you good at? Like, what are you going to do? What can you make into a career? And I love art, and I've always been in performance art, whether it be choir or, sports too, which is still a different type of art, an athletic art. And so this was just like something, I'm fully myself, you know? I'm not hiding. When I was doing the drugs, I wanted friends. I just was lonely. And this just opened up something so much more than I never thought that I could imagine.
I think that's great. And, I think that I've heard that drag has really helped change people's directions. They help them feel more confident about themselves. They help give them the power they didn't know they usually have. And with you, I feel like this is a really stronger message than I've heard from some of my other guests, because I mean, it's really beautiful to see you picked yourself up. You completely did a 180, and you're taking this wonderful platform and this art that you've created, and you're leading with that in your life. And I think that's beautiful, Flawless.
Thank you. I think that's why I take myself too seriously, and why people can be a little bit intimidated of me, is because I'm like, this saved my life, and this is like a passion, and it's my therapy. It's so much more than, you know, just makeup.
No, I totally agree. I mean, again, I've said this in multiple episodes that drag is my mental outlet, and without it, I probably wouldn't be here. So I totally understand. Now, girl, I think one thing I've always been curious is, how did you get your name FlawlessShade?
So around when I started drag for Halloween, we were my friends at the time and we were thinking about being the Spice Girls, or should we be like a Beyonce, or you know, like we were just trying to think of what characters we could be. And I was like, the Flawless song by Beyonce had come out, but the remix with Nicki Minaj had just come out too, and she had done her whole world tour. And the last stop in her tour, I think, was in Paris. She brought Nicki Minaj out and introduced this new remix, and it was like, you have the first Black rapper to chart-topping rapper with one of the most amazing, impactful, powerful Black women entertainers there ever has been. So I saw the remix, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have two divas, so much Black girl magic. And I was like, if they had a music video, that's what I would want to be. So I knew from day one my name was going to be Flawless because of Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, and Shade because of my awesome, wonderful drag mother, Kimber K. Shade.
Okay. And, you know, I think that's fabulous. You know, both of those women are very beautiful and powerful women. They've made some great messages throughout their music. I mean, Beyonce alone, I feel like I've known her since middle school, and, you know, well, known of her, I should say. We're not like close girlfriends, I wish. But, you know, I love that she's part of who inspires you. You know, someone whoever I see you in some of your looks, though, and I hope you don't kick my ass for saying this, because I think she's also a powerful Black woman, is you sometimes remind me of Tyra Banks, because you have those beautiful eyes and you always give me the smiles.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I do get Tyra Banks a lot, and I just like to think it's because of my receding hairline that I have. I got what you call the cul-de-sac, so it means the hair only goes around. So there's a lot of forehead.
I hear you, girl. The older I get, the more forehead I'm getting too. So I feel you. So, you know, one thing tell us a little bit about the character that is FlawlessShade.
Okay. I always like to say that I don't like to refer to Flawless myself as a character, because I like to mostly say it's more of an extension of who Taj is, which is my boy name. I'm very a confident man. I'm a confident Black man. I know myself, and I'm still figuring out. You know, you still have things to learn and everything, but drag is a different expression of how I want. So if I want to flip my hair, you know, that feeling is different than what Taj can give, and even wearing nails, like you talking with the hands. And so for me, I'm still Taj, but I'm just a little bit extra Taj.
And I think that makes sense. I mean, with me, I think that's how I started. My drag was an extension of Jamie, who is my boy persona. And then I think the more I got into it, I mean, I've been at this 15 years, the more little quirks have happened and little things that created the character Maliena. And, you know, like the giggles and the funny comments and the fact that she stumbles and she's clumsy and she's awkward, and all those things that bring the charm to being Maliena. And I think that's just something that comes with time, because, you know, again, drag is always going to be an extension of ourselves, building. And I don't think I mean, like you said, you don't have to have a character to be a performer. It's just something I think I hide behind, honestly.
I don't think that it's anything like, I mean, going back to Honeybee Heart, like her character would be Granny B, you know, where it's a different in here and different, and it's not to say that it's bad or anything. It's just,
Yeah.
It's so like for me, it would be hard to. It just is, you know, it's different. We all do what drag and we all go into drag, excelling or preferring one thing more than the other. For me, like there's some awesome entertainers and death droppers and everything, and I like to focus more on like, you know, like the more personal aspects, hair and makeup, obviously. So.
No, and I think that totally makes sense. I mean, you definitely are a beauty queen from head to toe also. I mean, you look like you take hours upon hours perfecting your images. I mean, even just talking to you in person, this orange hair looks like it's literally growing out of your scalp. Uh, these purple cheekbones look natural. I mean, you look beautiful, babe.
Thank
And
you.
I think your art is one thing that I think really sets you apart is because, I mean, flawless is the perfect name for you because I have no other description for you but flawless.
Thank you.
So speaking of your name, so I have to ask, with having the last name Shade, would you say that flawless is a sweet queen or a shady queen?
It's so funny is that I like to think that I'm sweet, but I think that what you notice more are what the negative things that people tell you rather than the positive. So
Right.
I think that I'm kind, but I also think that people out there would be like, flawless is a bitch or flawless. So I mean, I don't myself, which I have a bias, is I like to think that I'm a kind person and that you're never going to get to know someone or a character of someone or extension or expression with these fake brows. You're never going to know someone unless you really sit down to talk to them in and out of their drag. And, you know, this moment that we're having is different than if I had just seen you at an event where I only talked to you for 10 minutes smoking a cigarette or something, you know?
In fact, let's bring that up. So, the first time I met you, I will say this. I was intimidated of hell by you, and it was no flaw of your own, but me being intimidated by beauty and expecting this because of how I've been treated in the past, that this beautiful creature is most likely going to look down on me or be mean to me. And you did the opposite. You know, you saw me eyeballing you from across the room, and you called me over because I think you saw me with Kimberly or something, and you called us over. We came and said hello to you, and you introduced yourself, and I said, I'm Maliena Bitchcock. I'm from Eugene, and you were nothing but kind to me. And I mean, and I really appreciated that because in a world of fucking mean queens, a queen with a heart stands out a million times.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Well,
We've talked before. I can't remember when I met you, but I just remember you being so genuinely sweet and you knowing my name right away. And it just be, the reason why we do drag too is we love the attention of it too. And the work that we put into it. And I always appreciate, like, you've been so sweet to me, and being Miss Gay Oregon, and when you're reigned as Empress, I just had an awesome time coming to your events, your step down investitures, and you've always been sweet to me.
absolutely. I look at it this way. There's no reason to be bitchy to other queens unless you have a relationship with them.
Absolutely.
So, you shouldn't be shady to someone unless you truly have a relationship with them and you know that the thing you're going to say is not going to offend them. And
Absolutely.
if you're meeting new queens, it's intimidating, especially if they, again, like I said, you're painted a certain way. You're going to be sometimes intimidated by those specific styles. It's the personality and the actions that happen next that's important. You need to be welcoming these new queens, no matter if they look traditional, if they're crazy, if there's, you should be supporting your community because that's why we're here. We're basically cheerleaders for the gay community or queer community, I should say.
I agree. We're representatives, of multiple facets of drag.
No, I totally agree. Now, we've talked about this you a little bit. Now, so I've always say the one thing that sets you apart a little bit, Flawless, is that even though you are so beautiful, even though some people find you intimidating, you are so humble, you're so kind, and you seem like you always want to help your fellow queen.
I like to think so.
Well, tell me a little bit about it, because I just feel like you're always so kind to everyone you meet. And I feel like with especially new queens coming into the community, I feel like you're always so supportive of them.
When I started drag, the queens that I met were the ones that you remember the kind of negative things and first meetings of everything. A lot of the queens were really mean to me, and they were very standoffish, and they were very that look up, look down, and and I had just been getting sober from meth 5 years ago, and I hated the way that I was treated, and people have still treated me that way. The same people still are. The only difference is that it's a little bit kind of fakeness or accepted because of the brand, my makeup abilities and everything. So I still see those same people being rude, standoffish, mean to new queens that come and support their shows or whatnot. And I refuse to ever let a queen or a brand new queen that has never met me before come to a bar that I'm working at or an event, that I'm supporting. I never want them to feel like, damn, I looked up to Flawless so much and she was such a bitch. And I can't do it at all. I left a popular show that I co-created at CC Slaughter's called Pre-Pump we had a successful show for a whole year where it was every week, every Friday, it was a lot of people coming in, and there wasn't a lot of people before. And it came down, we were being paid $75 each at the time. And a year later, they said, okay, we'll talk about a raise a year later. And they laughed in our face and said, we're never going to pay the girls. And I will always stand up for the queens that are willing to put in the work and just get that awesome experience, and a lot of queens deserve to be paid, especially if they're bringing all their followers to your bar. And that's just kind of my shtick.
I kind of want to put my opinion in there too, because I really agree with you. And one thing that sometimes upsets me is like, I've seen bars, and not many bars, but some bars that want to take a percentage off the cover for people coming into the drag show when they're getting food sales, alcohol sales, and all that.
So CC Slaughters promotes a free drag show, but starts charging $5 halfway through that show. So that money doesn't come back to any of the girls at all. It was embarrassing, and you have to kind of think that like how do I want to be remembered when all this is done? When I am traveling the world and I'm FlawlessShade, I'm international, and I come back to Portland, I want those girls to be that girl Flawless. She stood up for us, and without her standing up for us, I wouldn't have a job right now. I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. I cannot stand when venues, bars, restaurants, or anything abuse or use entertainment at all. I only have these problems at gay establishments or venues or productions.
It's kind of funny you say that, because it's kind of my experience too. Normal bars, they don't give us any hassle. They totally agree that we deserve our cover 100%. They realize what work we put into it. But then when you work for a queer establishment, they all suddenly want a percentage off of it, because they know how I feel like it's because they know how valuable we are, and sadly they know what we'll work for sometimes. And I think that shouldn't happen. Performers work really hard, especially drag performers who are spending money on hair, jewelry, costumes, makeup. It's
Absolutely
not cheap. And for a bar to say, okay, you're going to come to a bar, spend 5-6 hours at this venue in full drag,
promoting.
Yep. And half of us can't pee or do any of that stuff through that time. And then they say, okay, and you're going to do 3 performances, and then you're going to host. And then they want to give you $50 for all of it, because it's like, we are so much worth that. And I wish drag performers could get paid like an actual wage.
It's, you know, it's a healthy balance, because not every single entertainer deserves it. You know, it's all about who's being booked. So if I'm booking, if I'm in charge of booking, and I want to book quality girls, or girls that I think have an awesome following, have been doing drag, they know how to perform, they're going to bring their people. Those people that they brought are bringing their friends, and now they have to pay all these drinks and a cover if they didn't come before a certain time and anything. For me, that's not cool if that queen isn't getting anything back. Tips isn't enough. If you hire a catering company, the waiters, you don't just say, oh, the waiters got gratuity, so we're not going to pay them an hourly wage, or we're not going to pay them at all. You know, or your bartenders, you still pay the people you hire for, especially if they're bringing in people.
I agree. I mean, it's just, that's the thing I don't understand is it's sometimes they want to highlight us as performers, highlight us as drag queens, but they don't want to give us the proper appreciation sometimes. So, you know, I hear it. It's just a fighting cause that we just have to eventually keep fighting for and educating, and hopefully those changes happen.
I completely agree. I will always fight for a newer queen, or a queen that may not be able to speak for themselves.
I love that. Now, you know, tell me a little bit who actually inspires Flawless, any local queens or famous icons that really stand out in your life that helped inspire you?
I mean, I can go, there's a long list of people. When I first started, it was, I mean, all of the RuPaul girls. I was really adamant about Raven and Tatiana and Trinity K. Bonet and Roxy Andrews, and then the beauty gurus started kind of happening, you know, on YouTube, and I really got into James Charles, Jeffree Star, Manny MUA, kind of a lot of those YouTubers. But also the struggle is to find a male YouTuber with my skin complexion who is doing what I want to do and everything. So I get inspired. Those are the YouTubers and kind of celebrities, if you will. But locally, I mean, I get inspired by different people every single day. It can be a brand new queen that I'm like, oh, you did that? How'd you get it like that? Okay, I see you. Kimberly Michelle Westwood is my absolute all-time inspiration. My drag mother, Kimber K. Shade, huge inspiration. She's been with me since day one. She gave me my first makeup brush, this brush, that told me never to put makeup on it. It's only used for blending. And there's so many different parts of drag. There's performance, there is emceeing, there's hosting events, there's the producer, there's people that do hair, there's people that do jewelry, there's people that do makeup, there's people that put it all together, you know? So I'm inspired every single day. I'm not done learning at all.
You know, I think that's wonderful. Something I've even said in previous interviews, and I think I've said through most of my drag career, was a queen that feels like they're done learning, you know, they're not going to evolve. They're staying stagnant, and they're only standing with what they know. And I think if you really want to be successful, and you really want people to know your name, you need to be constantly evolving, constantly improving yourself. And you know, when I was, I hate to say it, it almost took me 15 years to perfect my look and my character. And, you know, I look back at pictures 2 years ago and I'm like, why the fuck were my eyebrows way the fuck up here? And it's a learning process. You're gonna look at your picture and be like, okay, I need to change this, this, and this. And that's all I can say is you're going to end up being fabulous one way or another as long as you put the work into it.
The keyword work. You know,
yeah.
And sometimes you could still do drag and not leave your house. You know, you don't have to go out all the time. So I mean, practice doesn't mean just, oh, I want to go out, and it is realizing what the time that you did go out, what you didn't like about whatever, your face, your outfit, and then doing whatever you can to make it better the next time.
I agree. And, you know, I have friends that are like, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do with being trapped at home all the time. I'm like, practice your craft. Get your makeup out, practice your eye, you know, get some outfits out, try to style some new looks, get some stone your outfits. You know, this is the time that if we can't be performing and you're not on social media entertaining people, get your ass out to your closet and start improving stuff, start practicing. Because, I mean, what else is there to do besides, I mean, you could be playing PlayStation or whatever, but why not perfect your art?
Exactly. And there won't be, hope, I mean, for a lot of us, there won't be an excuse of anything, you know? I mean, other than, I mean, working with the drag that you have now, so I'm not necessarily saying you need to buy all this new stuff, but you can elevate your stuff. You can style some hair, you can try a purple face that you've never done before, or, you know, just something to do to make your art better. And when people see you working on your art, they like it better, they appreciate it more. It's like, it's kind of like The Secret, kind of, where you kind of like put something out in the universe and hope it comes to you. And I swear, the more I tell people about my goals or whatever, the easier it comes, or people, they see it, you know, they remember that.
I think that's great advice. I mean, I don't think the concept of The Secret is too far off. I think if you put something out in the universe and you work at it and you keep putting that energy out there, eventually it's going to add up and you're going to get those goals. And I've definitely seen that. You know, my goals were a lot different like 4 years ago. Actually, I'd say 6 years ago, to what they are now, where I was like, I want to be on Drag Race. I want to be the first Oregon girl. And then I realized, and this is just me, not to talk all about me.
No, I love it. This is a conversation, girl.
Yes, as you don't need that platform to feel famous. You don't need to be on RuPaul to feel famous. What you need to feel famous is when you go to that bar and people are excited to see you. People want to take a picture with you. The thing I never understood are queens that don't want to take pictures with their fans. These people want to take time of their lives and actually take a picture to remember you. Mm-hmm. So we should, I mean, as long as they're being respectful, you know, take that moment to let them remember us because they're supporting us. They're being there for us. And I think that's really important.
You know, when I first started, people would always ask me to take pictures because I was hanging out with my roommate at the time, or friend at the time, and we're both the tallest drag queens in like the Pacific Northwest. And so people would always take, and I would be like, oh, okay, when I first started. And then I got, you know, that humbleness set in, and I'll talk about Godiva Divine because she's an awesome drag mentor of mine. And she's like, you're nice, stay humble. And it's my job. So I don't sit down for 4 hours getting ready, putting makeup, and for it not to just get a compliment. You know, I want to change people's whole experience of that night. My art, if I want people to appreciate my art, I have to appreciate their time appreciating me. So I'm all about taking pictures now. I don't care. You never know. Hopefully use a flash because I'm a Black girl.
Well, it makes me so happy to hear that because it really sounds like you get it, Flawless. I mean, again, this is a job. This is what we've signed up to do. And being entertainment, I think there's a lot of queens, including myself, that sometimes it doesn't dawn on you automatically to be a drag performer. You have to entertain. Some people think you're just putting on a dress and a wig and you're just going to go out and move your lips. And, oh, you don't need to know the song. I'm just going to move my lips and dance a little. And it's like, no, you really need to practice your songs, know your lyrics, and be willing to entertain your audience. And then after the show, be willing to interact with your audience.
Boom. Even before, but my thing when I was at Pre-Pump, and usually before any show I do, is I like to try and shake everyone's hand or talk to them or to introduce myself, because when they see me on stage, they're going to remember my face and they're going to remember that interaction. They've already judged me from my look without me talking to them, but I can either change their judgment or add to it by talking, like going to them. They want that experience again. And if I want their love, their tips, and, you know, for them to remember me, it's it's that first 10 seconds. And I mean, it's truly important.
I fully agree. I really do. And again, something I live by is it's much easier to be nice to people than mean to people.
I agree.
So, Flawless, I think whenever I see you, and you laughed when I said this in a pre-interview, but I truly believe this, when I see you, I see high fashion. I think of you as a high fashion queen. You have some amazing looks. You do some amazing images. Will you describe your drag style a little bit for me?
I first want to say thank you again. It's so funny is I wouldn't consider myself fashionable or high fashion because a queen is broke a lot of the time, and I usually get a lot of my outfits or whatever I can anywhere I can. Like I'm a huge Forever 21 queen.
Oh girl, me too. I love me some Forever 21.
Yes, and they know me by my first name every time I go to that mall and everything. Oh, how are you? We got this over here for you. So I love yeah, I'm wearing a Forever 21 shirt right now, so I can't. But to go back to your question, I would say, actually repeat your question, just make sure that I'm not ranting.
Okay, so I've always thought you as high fashion. Why don't you describe us your drag style?
Okay. My drag style to me would be like slutty glam, hood, but make it fashion. You know, ho, but make it fashion. I would say Beyonce in the streets and Nicki Minaj in the sheets.
Oh my God, that is the best reference ever.
I just came up with it.
I think that's great. Now, as we can see, you can get very draggy. I mean, do you like feeling like absolutely beautiful, or do you mind tipping those toes in kind of the clowny drag world?
I do love trying different things. I also know what makes me feel confident and beautiful. Also, people that book me for events or that hire me for events, they're usually expecting something specific, you know, like, so if they book me, if I get an email or something, like when I worked for when I modeled through Adidas, I would never try this kind of look for a campaign, you know? So it's all about kind of reading it and knowing this is like the time where I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to try something new, you know? Or like a red dress event or something where a venue or someone hasn't hired me already, you know? And they're like, oh, whoa, I didn't hire that, you know? Like,
I guess I really do get that. I mean, there's a time and place to experiment. And, you know, again, they want a clowny queen, they'll hire someone like me, right? Well, you know what, girl? One thing I've noticed, as we can tell due to this beautiful purple skin tone, you're an amazing makeup artist, and you have turned some fierce looks.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit where you learned to do all this.
Facetune. I'm just joking. Everyone knows. I hear it all the time of how much I Facetune, and I say I know. So I always have to, like, you know, you always have to like dig at yourself first. But I honestly study the hell out of my face. I stare at pictures, and I zoom in, and I say what I don't like about this angle, or how this color isn't working with this lighting, or where the lighting needs to be, or the type of hair I need to wear based on what color foundation I'm wearing. Sometimes I can't wear brown hair because it'll wash me out. So I think that that's just my way of is trying new things, is by studying what worked and what didn't work from the last time I did similar looks. Something.
I hear you so much. There's nothing wrong with using a filter once in a while.
Bitch, I live for those glasses.
You know what? I'm just wearing something that enhances my eyes.
They look kind of real too.
I love them. They're one of the things that I actually want to wear with this outfit when I do it in person. But I think there's nothing wrong with using a little Facetune. I mean, even the famous magazines, the fashion models, they all use stuff to edit and basically clean the image. So I see there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I really want to know, tell me how to do it.
You know that there are tutorials. Again, I'm all about a good tutorial. is that I'll watch the same one multiple times just to catch up and everything. And I watched James Charles tutorial that he did a few years ago or whatever. And yeah, I just try different. I'm also trying to stray away because the editing is so much fun too. It's its own form of art, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, the only thing makeup I ever add on is highlight, just because you can't see it on the picture, like from face up. So unless I go like that, you know, like from the side. But it's only for what you can't see that was already in person, you know? So I'm not adding in random different colors or sparkles where there weren't sparkles or anything. I'm more of just enhancing what you couldn't see, what you could see in person. And there's just a lot of trial and effort on that, and I'm still learning that, and I still probably edit too much.
No, I think your images are beautiful. Some of the ones that we were sharing for your promotion for Bitch Talk, people were like messaging me and be like, who is she? She is so beautiful. And I'm like, oh, she's in Portland. They're like, she's in Oregon? Oh,
Yes.
my God.
Tell them it's flawless.shade on Instagram.
Damn right. Now, Flawless, like we were saying, your makeup's incredible. Where do you get the inspiration for some of the creative looks you do?
So this look was, I wasn't really inspired by anyone for this look, but let's say, I get inspired a lot by Mika Holiday on Instagram, James Charles, Jeffree Star. I'll follow drag accounts like Drag Perfection, Quirk Out, and a lot of them have featured me too. And that's also a way of kind of networking. So you kind of paint the way that and get inspiration from the artists that they're reposting their pictures and everything. But like, I'm trying to think of one that you posted, the African look with my braids and the blue and the lines across. That one I was inspired by a few different Black African artists and one white person.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And I really think some of your looks, some of them look very unique, but it also looks like you make a high fashion look out of using things conventional. And one thing I wanted to ask you, now that all the cameras are pointing at you, is there's one where you have like this fur wrapped around you. Are you wearing like a fur coat backwards?
Yes, and I wish I would have hid I was having 4 a.m. photo shoots because I would get off work on a Friday night, and it was my New Year's resolution was to take pictures when I'm done working. So I'd get off work from Stag and come here and I'm like, okay, I just need to find something. So I put it on backwards. I was like, let's call it.
But it looks so high fashion. Like, you know, I kind of can spot it because I'm used to wearing things unconventionally. And I just think it's so creative, especially if you're using it for like a photo shoot or like an image. Guys, don't be afraid to be creative. Take a cloth, wrap it around.
You know that RuPaul, she sometimes like, we never see the back of her. So sometimes I watch interviews and listen to interviews that we don't know what's going on in the back of her head. Like she could see all her baldness and that volume of it. Some of it's fake, and but it doesn't matter what's going on back here is what you see kind of here, you know?
I didn't know that. That's the key right there.
And like right now, I'm wearing a skirt, not tucked or anything. So,
well, you know, I think that's the great thing about this kind of doing drag for this kind of thing is you can go as big or little as you want for the camera. And sometimes you can make it look so big with such little effort for the camera.
Absolutely. I'm still learning that.
Well, do you have being so good at the makeup, do you have any makeup tips for any upcoming queens or our viewers out there?
I have a lot. You know that people never ask me for tips, usually. They always ask me, what do you think of this look? Which they're usually just looking for a compliment. Or, yeah, people never ask me for tips. And I never give advice unless people ask. So I would say, I guess it really depends on what level of drag you're in terms of how long you've been doing drag. So I would say my first thing for a new queen would be block your brows. Block your brows. also finding a right foundation that works for you. I hate Krylon. I'm very against Krylon. I'm against the store that sells it in Portland, Hollywood Lights. I've given a review. I don't like brands that don't cater to all ethnicities for me. So I would say find the right shades of makeup and try and kind of get it as much as you can once you figure it out right. Because when it runs out and you absolutely need it, bam, get it. That's just me because I'm Black, so it's hard to find the right foundation shades. And when I first started drag, I looked like Missy Nana because she was my inspiration, and I didn't know what colors to use or any. It's hard to find, that image you're trying to be inspired by when all the other people are white that you see. So I would say browse, foundation, find an inspiration, and keep trying new things. I can go more in depth if you give me more advice questions.
Well, we have a lot of questions.
Okay, I was like, is it the highlight or brows, or I don't know.
I think you gave good advice. Learning to block down your brows, it's not an easy thing. Most people don't know that. I block down my brows, of course, but it takes me almost an hour just to block down my brows properly.
Same. My whole brow process is about an hour and a half to cover and draw new ones on.
Mm-hmm. And I found out I do my brow process completely different than most queens do, but I like the way I get my brows. Is my brows go on after my whole eye is on.
Oh, okay.
And most queens put their brows on before they even put the rest of their foundation on.
For me, it's a time thing. It's a time. If I have all the time in the world, I will do my brows first. But if not, I'll do my base first, and then brows, and then eyes.
Yeah. Now, Flawless, you definitely, again, have produced amazing images that you released to the internet. Would you describe yourself as a social media queen?
I like to say that I try and use social media to the best of my abilities. I think I'm getting there, but I have received some awesome work and invitations and free products and because of my social media, specifically Instagram, FlawlessShade.
I think that's great. And Flawless, I've actually learned a lot about you within the last 24 hours. I kind of enjoy your company, but I found out you've done exciting and amazing things with your drag career. And in fact, why don't you tell us a little bit, something you've mentioned a little bit before is you were involved with a national campaign for Adidas.
International.
International, okay.
Yes. So last summer, I was the first drag queen to ever be featured in an international Adidas campaign. They picked I think 7 of us, and 5 of us were from Oregon or the Pacific Northwest because the headquarters are here. They found me on Instagram, and I still get my heart still beats when I talk about it because it was just the most life-changing, and I hear a lot of I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of people that don't like me in the community, usually because they're jealous of what I've done, and that and the Adidas thing was just life-changing. It was it's hard for me to even talk about because it was everything that I've always wanted to accomplish. Even before I was drag, and I lived in LA, I wanted to model, and I was signed that agency, but I never got to model for anything so big. And the Adidas campaign was life-changing for me. I'll always be grateful.
I think that's fantastic. And I mean, to be part of something as big as a campaign that is international, and I mean, I think that's so cool. And I mean, I think I would be envious of that opportunity, but I would definitely, because you're you're an Oregon girl, I know you. I think that's fucking fantastic, and I have to praise you for that because I mean, I can guarantee. How many girls did you beat out for that position?
There wasn't even an audition for it. I didn't even audition. They just emailed me from my Instagram. They said, "Hey, we've been looking at your Instagram, and yeah." I keep doing the same thing that I have been doing on it, trying to keep it growing and tagging people and posting at the right times and being, you know, classy and representing my brand in the right way. And yeah, I've gotten some really cool stuff from Instagram.
Okay, note to self: have Flawless run my publicity.
It is a job. Let me tell that. It's hard to come up with good, and you have to invest in good quality lighting, camera, and clothes, and the art, and all of it. It's a whole job.
A fucking man. Especially coming into doing these interviews, I learned very quickly that you need proper lighting, you need proper angles, and hopefully my ring light will come soon. But due to the virus and everything, I won't get it until the end of the month. But, you know, nothing wrong with a makeshift studio.
Hey, like Tim Gunn says, make it work.
Damn right. Now, Miss Thing, I know you did this as a model, and this campaign was international. Now, would you ever consider doing modeling full-time in drag for other companies, or even just become a full-time model drag queen?
If the opportunity presented itself, absolutely. It's a lot of time and money to look specific, you know? So the worst it would be Miss Fame. She has the best, but Miss Fame has a very specific brand that she can never go outside of it. She always has to look like a model, you know? And I'm not necessarily envious of that. So I wouldn't say no to the idea, but it's not something that I'm actively I want to be a full-time drag model, you know? Like, first of all, they would have to pay me more than they would pay the other models because I would be doing my own hair and makeup.
Right.
You know, so I won't say no, but full-time, I'd say chances are low. If the opportunity presented itself and money was good, yes.
Would you walk a runway like for Marco?
Absolutely. Yes. That's definitely a big goal for sure. I have walked a runway. I did the Portland Fashion Week, and I did a PacSun runway, not in drag.
That's really cool, though. You know, I have to admit, look, you wouldn't tell looking at me because I'm such a clown. I've always wanted to walk a runway. It's specifically like high fashion and showing off someone's creativity and their design. And I really do admire Marco's stuff, especially what he's done with displaying some of the drag models that have come out. Some of those outfits and those designs he's made inspired by their styles are so amazing. And
oh yeah, I loved him on Netflix, the Netflix show too, The Next in Fashion.
Right?
He was so good.
I was really surprised to see him on something like that because he's already so established, but it was so great to see that behind the scenes look with him.
I met him one time. He came to Stag when I was bartending at Stag a long time ago, and he was really, really nice.
Okay, I think I think that's awesome. I actually met Andrew Christian once.
Oh yeah, I have too. He's not nice. He wasn't nice in my
He was nice to me. He picked a pair of underwear out for me.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He looked me up and down because I was a boy, and he looked at my bulge and he says, "You need this one."
That must have been before me too.
Do you ever feel like because you are so polished looking, you are so beautiful looking, that people ever treat you differently, Flawless?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say it's because of that necessarily. I do. I feel usually the standoffish vibes, territorial vibes, gays. Not to put all gay or a group of people as one or say anything, but a lot of gays can be a little bit sensitive to their what they're used to. So when I was new, and coming out. For me, it was like a lot of the black queens were like, who is she? Why is she, we're not gonna take her in because she's taking our gigs or whatever. When I'm like, okay, let's reach out. So I would say that I know I'm for sure treated differently because of the things that I've worked hard for and gotten, and because of the way I do my art. People also prejudge. A lot of people don't know me. I don't hang out with anyone, but they hear things from other people or or they only know me in drag, so they think something, or my brows are painted on higher, so I look angry, and oh, she just looks so angry, And I was like, oh, actually, I was trying to fix my tuck real quick, but I would have loved to say hi, type situation. So I'm definitely treated differently. Yes.
Well, I think people need to stop judging us on rested bitch face or the way our faces are painted. If you want to know how someone is feeling, go up to them, have a conversation with them. Don't assume basically that their face is rested and they are painted what looks bitchy, because
I'm also black though, so I'm big. I'm like 7 foot in drag, so being in a white state, people are more intimidated by me than they would be maybe from a white person.
Right. And we're definitely going to get that further in the interview, because I definitely want to touch base with that. But you did just say something that I need to rewind. You're how fucking much tall?
I'm 7 foot tall in drag, depending on what hair I wear.
Oh, yes! Oh, God, you're a tree and I want to climb it. Sorry, I'll hold myself. No kai. No kai.
You could. If you want to make it a menage a trois, you can bring your man too. So.
Oh my God! I will say this with that even said. So, it was Facebook or something. I posted a picture of me as a boy, and there was a moment you commented and be like, "Oh, girl, you're a really cute boy," and I'm like,
"Yep."
I looked at my boyfriend. I looked at him and I'm like, oh my God, FlawlessShade thinks I'm cute.
When because we don't ever see each other out of drag when we do.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, that was me just recently when I was telling you this in a pre-interview. Your best friend, who I love, Sativa Goddamn Jones, but I've only seen Sativa Goddamn Jones. Now, I was seeing her Facebook the other day and saw some pictures of him and his boyfriend, and I'm like, oh,
yeah. They're both very handsome.
Oh God, they're beyond handsome. They're both beautiful. Now, let's see here. Let me find my place. I have giant lashes and tiny writing. Oh, perfect. So you've done amazing things, Flawless. And we talked about the Adidas campaign. But another thing that you did that was really big in your career is I heard you participated in a national bartending competition and won the competition, but you did the whole competition in drag.
I did. So I didn't win the whole competition. I got first place in regionals, which was like 3 states, if you will. So the Pacific Northwest. And then I got first place in that, and then got 3rd place nationally. It was a Stoli classic cocktail competition in Key West. They flew me out. I competed at CC Slaughters, and we had at least 1 or 2 representatives from each queer bar in Portland. And the bar I was working at, it wasn't necessarily a gay bar, but a production company had, known as the Caravan of Glam, had reached out to me and said, hey, we got a free spot to represent us. Can you do it since you're a drag queen bartender? And so yeah, I ended up going to nationals. I got 3rd place, and until a drag queen beats me, I'm the best drag queen bartender in the nation by Stoli.
That's exciting, and I love that. And the fact that you got in touch with the Caravan of Glam, I've worked with them so many times, and I mean, I love Ecstasy Inferno. I
love Ecstasy, but I won't probably have anything positive to say about any other person, aka Justin.
Okay, well then we just won't talk about that
There we
person,
go.
right? And, I mean, to be fair, not many people have positive things to say about him, but I just smile. So this thing, now you did bartending. Did you actually bartend in drag full time before you did the competition? Because I know afterwards you were actually bartending in drag out in Portland.
Yes. I wasn't necessarily doing it full time, like all the time. I would only do it at the like a Friday or Saturday night shift at my old bar called Liquor Store, and then I got hired at another gay bar in Portland, and because of my drag.
Okay, and how is it to work in the Portland drag scene? I mean, do you enjoy it? Is it competitive? Tell me a little bit of the tea.
I would say I do love Portland. Without Portland, I wouldn't be obviously the queen I am today, the person I am today. I wouldn't be Miss Gay Oregon representing the state. So I do love Portland, but also the drag here is hard. Is the struggle, especially when you have a lot of bars that are people that aren't paying their queens. So there's always that fight for it, and for just the opportunity to hopefully get a $15 something, you know. It is for me, it's kind of cliquish. I don't like to think that we have a community. I like to think that we have multiple communities, if you will.
Okay.
We kind of have like I don't know if this is going to be inappropriate to say, but kind of a club kid scene. I don't want to just stare or classify groups. We have like a downtown scene. We have like the pageant girls. We have like the Darcel girls. We have like the bar girls. So and people are very. It's hard to get those paying gigs, and people are very, very territorial over it.
I would agree with that. Now, something I've experienced is I know Kimberly Michelle Westwood, and I'm on her good side, and so that means she likes to support me once in a while and bring me out to Portland. But sometimes I see some of those other queens, and they look at you as a guest spot that comes from out of town, like you shouldn't be there, and
Yeah.
and like you, even when you're friendly with them, I swear, I'm not going to say no names because I'm not that bitch, but some of them get that look like they have a smell of shit underneath their nose when I go up to talk to them, and I'm like, girl, it's cool. I'm just here to have fun.
What happens, because then they say all of the horrible lies, or they make up things and tell other people or their friends and everything. It's very high school. It can be, and for me, that's why I'm like, when I especially when I see a new black girl or new girl, I'm like, hi, how are you? Here, come do my show. Da, da, da. Let's hang out. Let's do this. Like, I am not that girl. I'm like, some people might think that I'm very like, oh, she's too like bitch, but they don't know me. They've never had a conversation with me. If you've sat down, talk to me, and I see you and you're a queen and you're not, and you come in with respect of like as a person, you know, and not just like, well, I come from here and I've done this, you know. It's like, well,
Right.
it just is that first person. Like, I do drag because I wasn't a meth addict, and I would never want someone to, the reason why they started drag, it to be the reason why they left, you know? Like, I would not want people to go back. I wouldn't want someone to make me feel like, okay, well, I had such a bad experience with this that I'm gonna start smoking meth again, you know? So I absolutely refuse to ever let a queen that is first meeting me feel like that. Granted, if they come at me and I don't know them, and they come out with me with a little, and I mean the tiniest little bit of shade, they're at a level 1, I will shade them harder, make them feel bad at a level 10. So.
Fair. I mean, I'm kind of the same way, Flawless. I'm the sweetest queen you'll meet, but the moment you cross me, I'll go straight for your fucking jugular.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, my next question is actually really ties into everything you're saying, and it really was, you don't ever come off as that shady queen. If you go up and talk to you and get to actually know you, you're a very sweet and kind person, and I know this because I'm an outcast within the community sometimes, and anytime I've gone up to you, you've been so kind to me. And tell me a little bit what it means to be someone who really lifts the other people up in your community. So when you see those other girls who aren't being accepted and you pull them in and you support them, can you explain to me a little bit like why that's so important to do that this day and age? Because I think that you mentioning that is really important, because I don't think a lot of queens do that. Again, I think a lot of people either knock the new queens down because they want them to feel like they need to know their place, or they're being mean to them because they don't think they look a certain way. But I've never seen that from you.
Thank you. For me, we all do drag for different reasons. I came into drag being pretty secure in who Taj was, and a lot of people do drag to feel a different way than how they feel as their normal selves. So I find that the people that I find are very like kind of bitchy or look bitchy are the most insecure individuals out of drag. They won't come talk to you, they won't say anything, but when they're in, it's a whole different experience. It's the same people, it's the same thing with people online versus people not online. The things that people, how they portray themselves on the comments and everything is not how they are in person. And I think it's just I don't know. I think that people can be so, I want to try and put this in a way where people will always remember the moment they met you, and they'll remember a bad interaction, and I just don't want that. I can't have my legacy be that FlawlessShade was a queen that used the queens, never paid them, made them feel absolutely horrible in public, made them feel like they needed to harm themselves, looked down at them when let's say like there's a queen that I looked up to so much, and I used to be friends with her drag daughter, and because I'm not friends with her drag daughter anymore, they now refuse to acknowledge, talk to me, or do anything, and kind of spread that lie or whatever. And for me, it's like, damn, I just looked up to you so much, and I'm so mad that you made me change my mind. And I don't want girls to ever feel like that with me. So that's like, I want it to be that, like, we are a community. There's so much art in this world, and there's so much, we should be expressing love and putting it out there, and also receiving it too. So what you put out there is what you get back.
I think that is 100% comment right there. And I'm a Wiccan, so I mean, I'm a pagan, which means I believe anything you put out in energy will come back at you threefold. So if it's positive energy, negative energy, and this is one reason I believe in being kind to people, because if you're mean to people, that's going to bite you in the ass in the long run.
Absolutely.
And
it's the same thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's also the same thing when people make those posts on Facebook. They don't do anything except make that person, the person posting it, look worse than the person they're talking about.
And I think that's true. I mean, I think there's a lot of cyberbullying that goes out there because people think, well, I'm going to get away with saying this because there's no real way with knowing who I am, or I'm going to do this because there's no way to real stop me. But, honestly, if your intentions are to cut down people or to make someone feel less of themselves, you really should just fucking keep your mouth shut, not put it on. And again, keep your drama to yourself, keep your drama for your mama, because Facebook is not the place for it. I'm going to say that first and foremost. Now, Taj, one thing I really feel like it's important for us to talk about.
You brought up my government name.
Oh my God, I did. Oh, bad Bitchcock, bad.
It's only because we talked about it last night. I was surprised. That's the first time you said it.
That was so funny. Oh, I can't believe that. So
it's okay, James. It's okay, James.
Oh my God. I'll tell you, my full name is Jamie Theodore Delbert.
Yes. Come on, JT.
So Flawless, sorry, bad girl. I do feel like we need to talk about a serious issue for a minute, and that is a struggle that I feel like a lot of people go through. especially people of color. Now, one thing I really need to talk about is, do you feel like in the drag scene people treat you differently being a person of color and being a queen in the drag community?
Do I feel like drag queens or people in general?
I would say people.
Okay. Yes, which I was speaking a little bit about earlier, is that the stereotype of how like big and scary and that Black people are, or that we're going to steal from you, that we smell, that we like every single fruit flavor of soda, that all of that, like, to me, I always try and counter, because living in a white man's world is that people are always looking for me to either like eat some watermelon, to say the N-word so they feel like they can say it around me or whatever. It's honestly my life. And so I'm very the person that will always stand up for myself. I don't care who you are. If you make me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna stand up for myself. If you say the N-word around me, I'm gonna say don't do it, you're racist for it. If you are bullying someone, I'm gonna say you're a bully, and I don't like the way you're making me feel. It's bullying. Yeah, sorry, I think I lost your question and started ranting. I'm feeling my emotions on that one.
No, honey, and I know this is going to be in a very emotional subject, so I completely understand. I do appreciate you being honest, and, you know, I think that you have a right to do that. Just because someone is, if someone's going to be a racist or a bully, fucking call them out, and you have the right to do that.
Thank you, and it's just like.
Are you there, Miss Flawless?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just cut out a little bit. The connection's a little cray-cray.
Oop. All right. What was the question again?
So let's move on a little bit. So you mentioned, I asked about how people treated you as being a person of color in the drag community. How do fellow queens treat you?
There are queens that I have I have respect for, and I think they have respect for me. And I don't have many drag queen friends, because I don't trust many queens based on past experiences with other drag queens and whatnot. It's hard. Yeah, it's in Portland. It's different. Like I've traveled around, and I've gotten to meet some amazing, nice drag queens. Here in Portland, it's a little bit different because I'm a resident here, and yeah, I don't know. There's so much love that I do get, but it's only like circumstantial usually. When I'm in drag, I'm treated a lot differently than when I'm in Taj. The people barely can won't even talk to me usually when I'm Taj, or they'll look and then they look away. But when it's Flawless, it's all hugs and touch and pictures and everything. So that kind of gets in my head a little bit. In terms of the queens, there's a lot of queens that don't like me. They just don't like me. I don't know what it is. I couldn't give a reason. The only reason I really could give would be jealousy. I know that's kind of egotistical to say, but I think that I've been able to accomplish some awesome things based on my hard work and the inspiration and help of others too, that I think that some queens that treat me disrespectfully are jealous or are listening to lies from other people. So.
And I think that's fair. I mean, Flawless, I have seen so many queens that want to knock you down for being successful. And it's like they can't stand seeing someone else in their area or in their arena being more successful than them. And if they are, they either have to dislike them or cut them down or be mean to them. And no, you should just be happy for your sisters. If someone's being successful, support them, love them. And honestly, I think that's the most important thing we should be doing. We're a drag family. We should be supporting one another. And I love you as FlawlessShade. I think you've always been a really sweet queen. And if a bitch is thinking or being bitchy to you, I think it's just because they haven't sat down and talked to you, because you're a kind person.
I wish the whole world could just, take it with a grain of salt and actually, because the definition of ignorance is lack of knowledge. So, so if you don't know the exact situation or exactly how I feel or whatever, or you're going based off, well, they said this, she said this. I'm done with that. I don't have time for it. I don't care.
Amen.
I do
Amen.
care,
And
but it's like you're not paying my bills. You're probably white and not black and don't know what it's like to be black, or you're black and are jealous, even more jealous, or don't want anything to do with me. It's just it's hard. It is really hard because I really do want to be accepted by my peers, but it's just not going to happen.
No, and I'm sorry to hear that, because I think you're a very successful queen. You're very good at what you do, and I think these queens shouldn't be threatened by you. They should try to learn from you and, watch you, see what they can do to help better and get those goals that they're kind of maybe jealous of, because again, it's all possible for all of us. You just have to work for it. So now, Miss Thing, tell me a little bit. So I know you've done a show like Black Magic, which does feature of POC, people of color. Tell me a little bit why those kind of shows are important, especially out in Portland.
I have to give a shout out to Rogue Storm Safari because it is her show and she's made it it's everything about it is hers. It started at the local lounge and moved to CC Slaughters. I have to say how important it is that we do have an all POC show, which means person of color, people of color. She only books them because they are they don't get a lot of the bookings that maybe some other white girls would. If you look at a lot of the popular shows, a lot of them will have predominantly all white girls and very few POC. I love Rogue's show Black Magic because she has put in so much work with it. She's teamed up with the right people too, and and she pays people out of her own pocket. She doesn't.
Oh,
the
wow.
bar doesn't pay all the people, so she doesn't get any pay. And when I did her Black Magic, the only reason why I went back to CC Slaughters is because of Rogue and the show, and it was Black History Month. Other than that, I just wish I can't wait for her to have the opportunity where she can make money and also pay the girls what she deserves. They need to be paid and not have to take out of her own pay. She's going to college. She has her own nail company and she is a producer and does so much great things. So for me, I genuinely, and she's one of those Black girls I took when I saw her. I was like here, like let me give you some love. And so I just, I'm so proud of her. And she's also my sweetheart sister. So she's Miss Sweetheart 32, I'm Miss Sweetheart 29, and it means a lot because I'm very adamant about just the struggles of what it's like to be Black, what it's like to be Black and gay, what it's like to be a Black gay man, and to me, to have an ally and a friend like Rogue is exactly the type of community and relationships that should be happening in the drag community all over the world.
Yes, I think that's fucking amazing. And I met Rogue Safari once, and she was one of the sweetest people to me too. She was very kind, very sweet. And to see what she's grown out there in Portland and, really taking that time to feature, people of color as those performers, because again, like you said, there's not a lot of us that really understand the struggle you all go through. And that's one reason I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like it is important to bring it up. It is important to talk about it because it is 10 times harder.
I agree.
So, Miss Thing, now I've noticed something with some of your social media looks. You actually brought one up. Some of your photos and your images, actually, pause. Images. Hey, Miss Thing, you are frozen solid. Could you do me a favor and turn on and off your camera to see if it gives us your image again? Sorry, technical difficulties. Please enjoy my titties while she plays with her camera.
No. So, how about now? No.
I just see a ring. Can you turn the camera around? Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit closer.
But now it's facing the ring.
Yeah, face you, baby, face you.
No, I just faced it towards me. Can you see me?
All right, let's see what it does. I see you, I think.
I see you.
Perfect.
Can you see
Good.
me?
I'm happy you see me. Well, I can't, but I'm thinking the camera can, so that's all that matters. So, Miss Thing, you know, I feel like one thing I was saying about your images on social. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
I see you.
There we are.
So, yes. So your social media looks, you have some very beautiful cultural images that you have released that have the braids or the headdresses or some very beautiful just painting that definitely looks culturally inspired. Can you tell me a little bit why releasing images like that is important to you?
To me, it was important to release some sort of my history, Black history during Black History Month, because I also wanted to show that our hair, that being Black, is also like we come from Africa too. I don't have a specific tribe or specifically anything, but I tried to take kind of all aspects of it, and kind of make it my own without being culturally sensitive or appropriating a specific tribe or anything. I tried to go very general with it. And for me, it's important for people to see art, because a lot of art and things that starts with Black people, the Black community, or African community, and gets usually washed and whitewashed down the road and everything. So I mean, it's important for me to show, to have braids. And I got that from one of my huge inspirations of people that stand up for Black rights, is Coco Jim Holiday. And I love that she wore a lot of braids. Coco Jim Holiday. She wore
Yes.
she wore a lot of braids during her year as Camp Wanakiki, but for me, I was like, okay, I know I want to do that. I know I want to have a head wrap. I know I want to do something tribal. I know I want to do something that I'm also Indian as well too, so I wanted to kind of throw in that work, hence my name being Taj. I am mixed, so I'm white. I'm also white too. My dad is half Black, half white, and my mom is half Black, Indian, and white. And so I wanted to show all of it, you know, with doing it the respectful way. So if you're white, please don't do any of my looks.
No, absolutely not. And I think it's really important to talk about all this. And again, I really do appreciate you letting us touch base on that subject. Now, you did kind of touch base on my next subject, which I feel like is very important, which is the fact that you are a wig stylist and you style your own hair. In fact, you're wearing one of your wigs today. Is that true?
Yes, it is. You know, a little trolley doll realness.
Yes, tell me a little bit about your style.
Well, I'm kind of a self-taught queen. I kind of take what inspiration I can or knowledge of how to do something, and I really hone in on it. I am a broke queen, and I mean, I in terms of I do drag as a living, so it's hard to invest into new things because I pay my bills with the money I do make. That I couldn't before there even was a lilac in locks by Lilac. I had to learn how to do it myself. There was any queen that I asked in Portland would not make me any hair. They would always flake on an outfit. They wouldn't do anything. So I learned that I had to do it myself.
Wow.
People won't teach people that I don't like. My next thing is going to be sewing, you know, and I just self-taught and put in the work. And once you learn a technique, then you can try different things, you know. Same thing with makeup and
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what has actually inspired some of your styles? Because I've seen some of your wigs and they are beautiful and they're definitely different than what I've seen on other queens.
Again, because so Lilac is a huge inspiration. I don't try and necessarily copy her looks, but because I can't afford her wigs at all, when she does an auction, which I fully support, go support Locks by Lilac, that I can't afford the $200 wigs that go for auction at all. It's never going to happen for me. But do support her so much, and just am like, oh yes. So any hair I can do, for like I can learn from or do something, I get usually inspired by Lilac, and I definitely want to give her a huge shout out. When I created Flawless Locks, I didn't even really know about Lilac, and her wig company wasn't even as big as it is now. So that was just happened to be kind of serendipitous. So it was kind of just by chance, and then the moment had gone because I've already said Flawless Locks. So I just want to give Lilac a huge shout out because she's an awesome wig artist, and so I would be buying from her if I could afford it. So.
I fucking love me some Locks by Lilac. I probably own like 6 of her wigs, and she's definitely a great stylist and has some creative styles herself. Now, if someone would like to maybe have a flawless lock or Locks by Flawless, or I'm sorry, how can they support you?
I don't have many people that ask me, but and I don't do it that often necessarily, but I do. They can hit me up through my if they're friends with me already on Facebook, hit me up on my DMs, or Instagram, flawless.shade. I charge about $75 for a wig for just base for a wig. If you want me to stack it, it'll be $150. That's sew in and a style, and my wigs last for usually a pretty long time if you keep up with your wigs, because they're really hard, and they kind of stay out of my face a little bit. If you have a thirsty wig that needs to be washed and hella brushed out, so you won't have some fees, because that shit hurts. My shoulder already hurts from brushing out a wig. But yeah, I would say it's more of like, let's call it extra credit for me. It's not something that I would say I have a business or I want to do everyone's hair, but if people reach out and ask, I'm down. It gets me an extra side money. It helps them get their stuff and everything. And yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm more insecure about my wigs, and mostly styling for people, because there's tough competition.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I mean, again, with being in the same area as Lilac, it's definitely got to be high competition. But I will say this. I'm definitely interested in looking to get you to do hair for me soon, just because I definitely believe in supporting all your local stylists. So, and all stylists do hair differently. So
Absolutely.
I definitely would love to get one of your wigs. So, you know what, Miss Thing? One thing I think we're ready to talk about is I also know that you are now currently Miss Gay Oregon 47. Why don't you talk a little bit about your experience with that title?
I was inspired by Kimberly Michelle Westwood to run. I was also inspired by my drag mother, Kimber K. Shade, and the many people that came before me. I know that Shima B. Valentine was in Miss Gay Oregon, and my good friend Aaliyah Nicole was the previous Miss Gay Oregon, and what made me want to run for Miss Gay Oregon is because they wouldn't let me run for Miss Gay Portland last year. They didn't really promote it at all. I couldn't find it. I thought the application I didn't know needed to be turned in before the interview process and everything, so they didn't have a Miss Gay Portland or anything. So I said, screw that, I'm gonna go for Miss Gay Oregon then. And and won. Yeah, I mean, the best parts of being Miss Gay Oregon and this last year have been from the new people that I've been able to meet, like people like you and the Stephanie Foxes and the Daddy Frank and you know, those type of people where you're like, wow, and even Cicely and where it's like they come from a different generation of drag and what the times were back in the day, and so that's been a really cool. And I as Miss Gay in Oregon, I got to MC an event for Basic Rights Oregon where they raised over $340,000. My first day as Miss Gay Oregon, the day after, I got to me and Sativa Goddamn Jones, while she was Miss Sweetheart, we raised $4,000 for Smirk. So a lot of my time for Miss Gay Oregon that I've loved have been outside of the ISRC, just because we can go into that, but yeah, just because I've always felt bullied and ostracized by the majority of the organization, not all. There's really nice people in there,
Right.
but a lot of people kind of make me feel bullied.
And I feel that's fair. I mean, the court system can sometimes be hard, especially, you know, with the expectations that they push upon you, and it definitely can feel like you're being bullied at times. And I definitely feel that you've gone through some hard experiences with the court, and I know some stuff that's happened, and we'll probably get into it a little. We don't want to dive too far deep, but, you know, I will say this. I'm one of the people that actually fucking crowned you. I was Empress of Eugene. And as a person who actually was involved crowning you, I could not be more fucking proud of you. You represented your title with dignity. You went to events supporting Eugene. You went to events supporting Salem. And I think you went on beyond what you needed to do. And as someone, again, who crowned you, I am very proud of you.
That means so much more than you could ever know. Thank you.
Absolutely, baby. Now, is there anything you've actually learned from the experience from being Miss Gay Oregon at all? Like, is there any, again, you talked about the meeting the older generation, but I feel like is very important. Do you feel like doing things in the court system where you're doing drag so quickly ever helps polish stuff, like polish your drag out, give you a lot of learning time?
You have to understand too that when I stepped up as Miss Gay Oregon, I was making good money doing what I was doing, and then I lost a lot of my gigs. A lot of my gigs got laid off, or just decided that they didn't want the show to happen or anything. Like, yeah, I had 2 businesses closed down on me. So that people don't understand that, like, there's so much money that I didn't know how much money it was going to take to be Miss Gay Oregon. Like, in order for you to be a good Miss Gay Oregon based on the organization, you have to go to all the events. They will not think, and if you don't wear a different outfit at each event, and I wore the same gown because for me, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing as long as how I'm representing the state that that I have a title in. And so I've learned that if you want to be successful in the organization, not with your title, but with your title in the organization, you have to do exactly what they want, how they want it. There's no, you won't get any respect. If you're a brand new queen and you want to be a Miss Gay Oregon or any title, that you have to do what they want you to do, or else they won't respect you, they won't like you. And that just means pretty much going to all their events.
I mean, that's fair to say. I mean, again, depending on what court system you're in, because there are different rules for different areas.
I'm only specifically talking about ISRC. I'm not talking. I want to.
Okay, absolutely.
Sorry to cut you off. But to say that just only ISRC. It's also just different being Black in a group full of older white people. They're not all white, but they are. So it's just that aspect of it, that being brand new to a court system, being also Black and white, where people don't see race, but the Black person does, that is kind of I don't have probably many positive experiences, except for the events that I've done where I've got to meet outside organizations, outside courts and whatnot. But I just also want people to know, and I'm very adamant about it, is that I'm a pretty confident queen. I've been able to do a lot, but it's the only time I've ever contemplated harming myself was through the drama and the feelings of it. And when I've reached out to specific title holders, they didn't try and help at all, and brought it up at the meeting that I just had, type thing, like about mental health. And so for me, it's just that there are people there that are willing to do good, but there's a lot of people that have made me feel like harming myself. So I hope I probably will get in trouble for saying how I felt that I wanted to harm myself, but it's just, it is how I felt. And
You know what?
I just,
That's
yeah, sorry.
No, and that's how you feel, and it really makes me sad to hear this and this treatment happening. And you know, the fact that some of the things you're describing really pisses me off, that this kind of behavior is acceptable or allowed, that, you know, someone's mental health is not something that needs to be discussed. And if someone's coming to you in confidence, or you even hear in the circuit that someone is struggling with their mental health, it's not something that you should try to use against them, because again, that person's already struggling. I've struggled from depression and also self-love my whole life. I have a bad case of self-hatred that it was instilled for me in early age, that I'm worthless, I'm ugly, and it's hard to convince myself otherwise. And to hear other people taking your mental illness and using it against you, that's shameless. Absolutely fucking shameless. And whoever did that, and I'm just going to say this because I'm Maliena Bitchcock and I don't care what I say, you should be ashamed of yourself. Do not use people's mental health against them. You try to nurture them, uplift them, and make sure they're safe. And Flawless, if you ever are in a situation where you need someone to talk to, or you're feeling just down or feeling those bad feelings, call me, bitch. I'm here for you. I
Thank
mean
you
that.
so much. I'm really embarrassed just talking about it, but I'm honest about, you asked me a question, I just wanted to be honest about it, and I wish someone would have told me this before I ran, so I knew, before I decided to interview for candidacy for Miss Gay Oregon, so I knew exactly what to kind of, I guess, expect.
Right. And you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. I think that what you said is very honest, and your true feelings and your true experience. So again, I think you were a fantastic Miss Gay Oregon, and I really am happy that you are still representing, and that I really can't still wait to see you out at events once we're actually allowed out of our homes again.
Yes.
So,
I also want to say that I also want to say that I love being Miss Gay Oregon. Although I felt bullied my entire year, I love the community that I've been able to represent. I ran for Miss Gay Oregon because of the community, not because of specific people in an organization, to represent the entire state. I thought there was something that I could bring, that I've worked hard for, that I can inspire other a new generation of drag to also come in and do what I did during my year. And so I want to say that I do believe in my title, and the people, there are good people in the organization. There just are a lot of important, louder people that tend to be a lot more negative. So I just want that to be crystal clear, that I still do. I love my title, and I love the people that have made me love my title too.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I am someone who was Empress, and I've worked in the court system many years, and I believe in the court. As hard as it can be at times, as much as there's bullies out there, I still believe in what the court system says. So I appreciate that you still appreciate the title, and you still believe in the title. So I love you, bitch. I thought you were great. I think you're doing a great job. I do want to keep this interview going just because we are towards the end and we just want to stay on time. Tell us something that is important for people to actually know about FlawlessShade.
What's important for people to know about me, I guess that I do take my drag, my art, my work very seriously. So anytime that you come at me, just understand that it means a lot to me. So I take it serious. I'm a lot nicer than you've either heard or think or are reading about. Just calm down, say hello, and I'll say hi right back, I promise. Yeah, and I also want people to know that hard work is where it's at. And if you are looking to accomplish anything, look at the person who's already accomplished it.
Oh my God, I think that is such great advice. I mean, that's really good advice, girl. And, you know, I think you're going to do some amazing things. And I think if you just keep supporting your community, staying strong, and being this beautiful representative as a person and a drag queen, I think you're going to just go so far.
Thank you.
So Absolutely, baby. So one thing before we get towards the end of the interview, as we always touch base about the positives about drag and what we love about drag, what is the one thing you hate about drag?
Just one? I will say,
Yeah,
I know. The one thing I won't say I hate, that I'll say that I strongly dislike are entitlement. I don't like when it comes from the newer queens and when it comes from the older queens or from the mid queens or entertainers. You have to, if you want something, go out and get it, or do whatever you can. Go support. If you want to get booked at a show, hit up the person, go in your art, support. Don't be overly annoying. The way you can be annoying at a show is by the hostess or the producer seeing you applauding the girls all the time. So the entitlement of it, the girls that have been doing it that came before me, that have been doing it for so long, that are upset because all these new queens are coming. I don't like that entitlement either. And what I do love is community.
Mm-hmm.
And art.
I think that's great. And, you know, again, that entitlement is something that really needs to stop within the community. It's just it's actually bullying. And again, we should be a family. We should be uplifting each other, and we should be loving each other. So there's no time for that bullshit, right?
Absolutely.
So Flawless, what should we expect next from you?
I don't know. Especially in this climate, I don't know. Right now, well, I think we'll just have to wait and see. And during this climate of where we're at in the world right now, it's hard to plan things. You know, I've gotten so much canceled, lost so much, but I really am hopeful. So I guess what you could expect is for me to stay hopeful and try and stay positive. I am a leader in this community, and I want people to always reach out to me if they need guidance or they need someone to talk to or anything. Yeah, community to me is, without community, there's nothing, you know. There's none of us, and we really just need to support each other as much as we can.
I think that's truly beautiful. I really hope things open up soon, and I really definitely hope you get your shows going back. Now, let's say the world opens up soon and things start running again. Would you consider running for RuPaul's Drag Race?
So when you do put out the application, they tell you that you can't say anything. So I will say I've only auditioned one time. But
okay,
just because I know this is going to be public, and so I can keep it a secret. But
okay,
yes,
well,
I would see myself running again. I know that RuPaul isn't going to be on any more seasons after season 13, but the goal is also to do drag without being on Drag Race 2. That you can do it. Before I'm telling you that I love being the first. I love being the first gay or drag queen bartender in the nation, the first Adidas model in drag. So it can be done. There just needs to be a space, kind of that space for the people that aren't RuPaul girls.
I think that's something that, again, always support your local girls. And what you're saying, Flawless, is absolutely true. Is you don't need that platform to be famous or to be successful, but it does sure help pay the bills.
Yes, it does.
Flawless, how can people follow you during these hard times? I know that we actually are going to have your Venmo, your Cash App, your PayPal within our description of this video. So if you are watching and you are enjoying this interview, you really enjoy just kind of following along and watching, please pass a couple dollars to Miss Flawless. She has worked really hard to look so beautiful and spill all the tea. So that's one way you could support. How can we support you maybe on social media?
I will say that, are you going to have the Cash App and everything written down?
Yeah, we're going to have it in the description, so they can look below and just send it to you.
So my social media is flawless.shade. I also have a TikTok that I never used. I think it is flawless.shade as well. If we don't have 15 mutual friends or more on Facebook, I probably won't add you just because I get a lot of requests and I have like 40 in my inbox right now. I would say if you ever want to book me for anything, my email is flawless.shade2323@gmail.com. I think that's it.
Well, I really look forward to working with you in the near future, Miss Thing. You're, again, one of the fiercest and sweetest queens I've met within my travels and within my time of traveling through Oregon. I really think you're going to do some amazing things, and I think keep your eyes open because, again, this bitch is going to blow the world once the world opens back up, at least. So, one last question, and I think this is easy. What did you think about your experience on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock?
I love it. I love how personable you are. You listen. It's hard to talk to someone who only wants to talk about themselves or relate everything you're saying about themselves. And you do such a great job. I've always, like I said earlier, I've always loved you, and I think it's admirable the positivity that you're bringing out in the art, and you're inspiring others. And when you asked me to do it, I was yes. When can I? So I just it's a way of like I don't necessarily know your world, and you don't really know a lot of mine, and we have a common thing, drag and being title holders, and so I strongly admire your what you do and what you're doing right now. So
thank you. I really do appreciate that from someone I really much admire and appreciate. In fact, I was telling my boyfriend that we were doing the pre-interview last night. I'm like, I feel like I'm fangirling over her the whole time because I look up to Flawless and I really admire what she does. And for you to show appreciation with this little silly project that I started just because things got hard and I still wanted to distract people and I still wanted to do drag. I appreciate you and appreciate you recognizing the platform I'm trying to create because
absolutely,
again,
you're also so professional. The work that you put into it, when I saw the interviews of you cutting to every person that when you talk, it's on your screen and you edit it, and these are long interviews too, and you're doing more than one a week. Like the professionalism of it, the cue cards of it, like the walkthrough we had last night, that hard work. I mean, the people see that, so good job, girl.
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't even know when I started this is when you create like a social media platform, you're director, you're the writer, you're the host, you're the makeup artist, you're doing all these things. And my boyfriend laughs and says, I'm working 60-hour weeks now. Well, Miss Flawless, you survived an episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. We're gonna move on to a couple of games we have, but before we do, I have some announcements. I definitely want to announce that this Friday I am going to be interviewing the one and only Facetious Farce, all the way from LA. That bitch is going to talk about being a crazy queen and living life now in LA. So I'm so excited to spill the tea with her. As a reminder, if you're enjoying the interview, you love Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, and you enjoyed getting to know Miss Flawless and want to show some appreciation, again, her tipping information is in the description. Please, even if you don't tip me, make sure to tip her a few extra bucks. These are hard times, and anything that you can give is appreciated. So, Flawless, with that said, are you ready to play a game, little girl?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we're going to start with a little game that I call Truth or Drink. This is a Bitchcock favorite. And the point of this game is I'm going to ask some shady questions, and you're going to make a choice to either answer them or take a shot.
Okay.
Are you
I'll
ready?
probably answer all of them, but...
Okay. Well, we'll see. I try to be shady with them.
I'm just joking.
So, Miss Flawless, for number one, What's the most scandalous thing you've ever done in drag?
I will drink to that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say
Just because
I
I'm
love spilling my
just
scandals.
because I'm Miss Gay Oregon, I don't want the trying to get my crown revoked or tiara revoked or saying I'm not representing the title well enough.
Oh my God, I love it. I know, I love it. Take that shot, girl. Enjoy that booze.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. For number 2, tell us a funny or shady backstage story.
I would have to I'm gonna give you 2, and I'll give a basic overall one. The part backstage is where I learned how to kind of who Flawless was, the paint that I wanted. So my favorite ones probably come from the Embers Avenue, where I started out in drag, and when I was on cast there with Analicious, and I missed the Analiciouses and the Autumn Rain's Heart and the Carly J Bangles and excuse me if I miss all the other hostess that were there, the Honeybee Hearts, they're still working, the Crystal Lynn, the Vanessa. So the people, the people that really did come before me, that was probably my favorite backstage part, is the learning of who I was starting out in drag and just being in so much awe of amazement from all these people that I now call peers. So
Yes.
that's my first one. And then I would have to probably say, like, I love those moments where where the show's done, and you it's a very successful show, and all these it's just nothing but good energy. You're done, the anxiety's gone, you made a lot of tips, hopefully you got paid. And so I'm being a little bit general, but those are my favorite moments, are those times, those backstage moments where you get to meet someone, you get to sit down, if you have an issue with someone, you talk about it before the show, or you talk about it after the show, you move along. So I think that those are my favorite moments.
I think that's great. I love that you're spilling the tea. So we only have a couple more for truth or drink, and then we're going to move on to our next game. Who do you think is prettier, you or Kimberly Michelle Westwood?
I have to say, it's hard because she's a huge inspiration of mine. Huge. So if you don't think you're the best, then why are you doing it? If you're not trying to be the best, or it's like if you don't think of yourself in that way of it. So she's a huge inspiration to me. I'm not going to put her down at all, but I'm very confident in myself, just like I'm very confident in the inspiration I get from Kimberly Michelle Westwood.
I love that. And Kimberly's one of my best sisters. I talk to her so often, so I think that's great that you look up to her. She's such an amazing bitch. Now, again, being confident in yourself, I have one last shady question, and then we'll move on to our next game. And of course, I have to involve your best friend because I'm a shady bitch. Who is a more talented drag performer? You
Sativa.
or Sativa goddamn Jones?
Sativa. Sativa's better than me at me performing. It's what she loves to do in drag. It's one of her favorite things to do. She not only thinks about her performance, but she genuinely cares how the moment, the energy, how the crowd's gonna relate to it. She's a community queen. So she's kind of opposite in me, the fact that I love doing it for money, and I am about my community too, but she raises so much money for the community, and she puts together so many events that people actually come to as well, that like her performance art is amazing. She makes posters. She'll make a jacket that says resist Trump on it. She's very political on it. She really thinks full-heartedly into it. My performances, it's not really I do love performing, but she is way better at it, and I will absolutely say that.
Well, I think that's fantastic, and I love that you are a humble queen that can say that she is talented, because that bitch is fierce. She is fabulous, and I will just say that if you are a fan of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, I hope that you tune in for April 20th for our 420 special as I interview the one and only Sativa Goddamn Jones. And me and that bitch is not gonna only get crazy, we're gonna do some nutty shit.
And I think she's wearing some flawless locks.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know.
I can get sponsored.
I made her hair for her step down, but she didn't get to have a step down. So I don't know if she's gonna save it or wear it. Or we'll see.
We'll make her wear it. So let's move on to our next game, and then we're gonna say our goodbyes to everyone.
Okay.
This is another bitch talk with bitchcock favorite that we call Marry, Kai Kai, or Cancel. And what's going to happen is I'm going to name 3 names, and you're going to tell me out of the 3 who you would marry, who you would Kai Kai with, and who you would cancel completely.
Okay. This is about to be shady. Oh!
I know, it's so good.
No hard feelings.
No, and we'll say the same disclosure we say it every time we do this game. Guys, this is not personal. Don't get mad. This is just for fun. I just pick people that we know. So, again, it's for fun. So, for number 1, we have Kimberly Michelle Westwood, Angel Phoenix, and the one and only Lilac.
Ooh, I would marry Kim, Kai Kai with Lilac, and you said the last one was Angel Phoenix?
Yes, Angel Phoenix.
Yeah, she would be the other option.
She would be the canceled queen. Well, she jokes about being a canceled queen, so I guess that's okay.
Oh, there we go.
Well, perfect. For number 2, we have Sativa Goddamn Jones.
Okay.
Maliena Bitchcock.
Okay.
And Shima.
Aw. That's a hard one. Okay, so marry Sativa, threesome with you, and and then I love you, Shima, but I'd have to cancel Shima.
Oh, it's okay.
But I love her. She's my sweetheart sister.
Yes. Well, we're going to do one more, and then we're going to say our goodbyes. And we're going to take this to a social media one. Now, there's a fabulous show out there, hashtag Camp Wanakiki. And I'm such a fan, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to because everyone already knows that I'm hoping to maybe end up on a future season. So, again, if anyone from Camp Wanakiki is seeing this,
I would cut that out. You gotta cut that out. You gotta cut that out. They make you sign a disclosure contract, right?
Nope.
They don't? Oh, okay. Bitch, get it.
Yep. Yeah, girl, we're allowed to talk about applying. They told us that we don't have to keep that secret.
Can I interrupt? Sorry, can I interrupt and say it's 7:00 right now, so it's gonna get loud because all of the downtown area is now cheering for the service men, women, and people in between that are working hard to fight COVID-19. So if you're hearing anything, I want to clap for all those people working so hard to keep the nation healthy and world.
Absolutely, and I think that's wonderful that you and the rest of Portland is doing that at 7:00. I think that's fantastic. So we have one last list of names. They're all members of Camp Wanakiki and all Oregon performers. So for number 4, we have Coco Gem Holiday, Diana Fire, and Claire Apparently.
Marry Coco, shag or Kai Kai with Diana, and the last option, unfortunately, I'm sorry, for apparently.
Claire,
sorry.
All right. Well, I love it. Well, baby, I'm so excited to say you completely survived Bitch Talk with Bitchcock.
Yay!
Well, thank you again for coming on the show, my love. I had such a good time hanging with you. Again, make sure to tune in this Friday for our next episode with the one and only Facetious Farce. And then after that, our 420 special with the one and only Sativa Goddamn Jones. So I love you all. thank you again, Flawless, for such an amazing interview. And I hope you stay safe. And I love you all. Mwah.